What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It is Tottenham against Bournemouth. It's our third match of the season, trying to make it 3 wins from 3. Spurs yet to concede a goal this season as well. Things are going swimmingly, and I think the mood of the fan base, our mood here in the studio, is definitely a lot more uplifted than what it has been over the last, we'll say, 24 hours. Last night, we were all down in the dumps. The night before were even worse. And look, we got the bomber for Xavi Simons. We're just waiting for the announcement to come. And I think everyone can just calm down a little bit.
Well, you're saying only one thing can bring down the mood.
I said, what did I?
I'm saying only one thing can bring down the mood now.
Don't do it.
And it's that.
Don't do it.
Tomorrow, Tottenham don't get the result we're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not talking about gazumping for Simons. Don't worry about that.
No.
I'm not talking about that. I don't even want to talk about gazumping. I'm saying it is classic Tottenham for everyone to be upbeat. We've got this unbelievable signing. Well, everything's going the right direction. And then what happens one game before an international break? We don't like a game before an international break. You got to remember that.
Why bring the mood down?
I'm just saying. It's what happens. There has to be perfectly balanced. We miss out on Eze, we beat City. That's how it goes. We get Simons, we lose to Bournemouth. That's perfectly balanced.
It's not beyond all realms of possibility, but I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win tomorrow. I think the stadium's going to be buzzing. Apparently, Xavi Simon's going to be announced to the Spurs fans before the game, so that is going to be brilliant. I don't think he's going to be able to play or anything like that. I think there's work permit permutations, but definitely in line to make his debut after the international break against West Ham. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But in this game specifically, Bournemouth sold a lot of players in the summer, didn't they? Hyson and the other centre-back, what's his name?
Zabani.
Yeah, Zabiani. And you're thinking Bournemouth are going to have a drop-off. Kirkez as well.
Keth is gone.
Yeah, so a lot of players went. 3 out of their back 4, which, a lot of people were praising a lot last season. And you thought there'd be a bit of a drop-off from them. But I think start of the season, they've done fairly well. I know they lost their first game against Liverpool at Anfield, but they actually looked really good in that game. And I thought were unlucky not to take away something. Got back from 2-0 down to 2, ended up losing 4-2. And next game, they beat Wolves 1-0, albeit Wolves were down to 10 men. But, Bournemouth definitely deserved to win that game. So they've started the season well, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and they were, as you say, very unlucky against Liverpool. 2-0 down, got it back to 2-2. 2 great goals from Semenyo, especially the second one, running from inside his own half all the way until the edge of the area with the great finish. And yeah, they'll consider themselves very unlucky to have come away with 0 points and not even a point. So they played quite well. Home to Wolves, who obviously got their own struggles, dominated, got the goal. Wasn't like the most vintage display, but they deserved the win. They got the goal. They kept Wolves at arm's length. Probably a bit disappointed they didn't create more chances, but they'll be happy with the fact that they didn't really look like ever losing once they were 1-0 up. And albeit they were playing against 10 men, they deserved the win, and it was a comfortable victory. They've replaced quite well. They've still got a lot of players to come back into the team who haven't been playing. So Ryan Christie, Justin Cliver haven't started the season so far. They've been injured, and they came off the bench against Wolves last week.
And Cliver started midweek.
Cliver started midweek, so he's back. He's probably going to start potentially. Adley, who I think they got from Leverkusen, new signing. Haven't bedded him in yet. David Brooks has had a good start to the season, who hasn't been much of a feature last year. So I think there's a lot to be positive about. But as you mentioned, midweek they lost 2-0 at home to Brentford. They did make lots of changes, but that'll be obviously bitterly disappointing to be out of the cup already in August for a team like Bournemouth, who obviously not in Europe this season. The cup games are going to be big importance to them, so to be out of that is must be a bit of a disappointment. But yeah, I think Iraola is one of those managers who doesn't complain about losing players or anything like that. Just gets on with the job. They've got smart recruitment. They very different to like I wouldn't say very different to Palace, but very different to like how Palace have done it this year, where they've left everything to the last minute. They decided, all right, if we're going to lose these players, we'll lose them early and we'll get replacements in and we'll be smart with it. And that's what they've done. And I think they're going to be set for, I don't know if they'll improve on last season because they were brilliant. And they finished 8th in the end or 9th, they had a very good season. But I can see them being very much mid-table again, and that'll be another great season for them if they finish in that way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for them to really kind of build on that, they need to keep their players and build on the players they do have. And for a club like Bournemouth, it's very hard to do so. But I would give them credit for managing to keep hold and sign down Antoine Semenyo in the summer, where there was heavy interest in him from the likes of teams higher above him, us being one. I think Arsenal were linked with him at one point, and Chelsea, I think, were linked with him at one point. But they have kept hold of him. He has signed a new contract, and he started the season on fire. Yeah. 2 goals against Liverpool. I think, did he get an assist in the second game as well? So he started brilliantly well. And Iraola just sets them up really well. And whenever you're facing Bournemouth, you're in for a tough game, whether it be home, whether it be away. And I think our past kind of games against Bournemouth suggest that. We didn't beat them last season. We lost 1-0 and drew 2-2 in the games that we did play against last season. 2 wins out of our last 5, and then obviously a home 3-2 defeat in 2023. So no matter who the manager is for Bournemouth, or no matter who the manager is for Spurs, it does seem to be always a difficult game when we play a Bournemouth side. Yeah,
and it's going to be another difficult one tomorrow, I'm pretty certain. We were saying before, I've been saying, it's the games against these kind of teams that is going to be the true measure of what we can achieve this season and where we are, because it's these games you need to show your consistency. You can get yourselves up for a big game against City, even like Burnley at home. Obviously you're expected to win. They're a newly promoted team. You can get over the line with a bit of quality in those games. But it's these games against good teams who are smart tactically, good managers, good recruitment. These are the games that you need to be switched on for, and you need to show your consistency in these games. These are the games, obviously, I feel like maybe that lack of creativity, which hopefully we're resolving now, can that come back to bite you? Is that a game where you're going to really be missing a Maddison and a Kulusevski in the final third? Obviously, Xavi Simons isn't going to be there in time. Although what I was looking at last season wasn't necessarily the results against Tottenham, is their results against Brentford. And Brentford, under Frank last season, did the double over Bournemouth.
Oh, really?
They beat them 3-2 at home, and they beat them 2-1 away. So clearly...
Frank's got Iraola's number.
Frank knows how to play against him, I think. And Frank is going to, I think the difference, obviously, last season and what Frank's going to offer is Frank is going to look at how Bournemouth play. And we know Bournemouth play in a similar way most games. They're going to press you very aggressively. They're going to have a go at you. They're going to defend in an organised way, but they're going to go very hard defend with their pressing and physicality. I've just seen Ryan Christie. He started again in midweek. He's a big part of their pressing structure. He's got high energy. So I think Frank's going to come up with a way of playing to combat that. He did it with Brentford with lesser players last year. In fact, there was one game he played a mid 4-3-3 with 3 workhorses in the middle, and he played Damsgaard on the wing. So he came up with a new way of playing this Bournemouth side. Is he going to do something similar? That's why I think for sure he's going to play those 3 that we in the middle that we played against City. He's going to make sure we win that midfield battle, because that is where their engine is, Bournemouth. They have flying fullbacks, yes. They have good forward players, yes, but their engine is in that middle. If they win that midfield battle, that is where you see them win a lot of games. And I think if we can make sure with Paulinho, Bentancur, Sarr, they're not getting joy in there and we're dominating that middle, I think our quality is going to shine through in both ends.
Yeah, and I fully expect if we do go for that midfield of a Paulinho, Bentancur and Sarr, us to have the legs, the aggression, the physicality to try and overrule them in midfield. I don't have a doubt about that. I am slightly concerned about our chance creation. We've seen over the course of pre-season, even at the start of the season, where we haven't been able to really create those consistent chances through our open play. And I do suspect it could be a bit of an issue that going into this game. I think Javi Simons, when he comes in, he will go some way to resolving that. But how do you feel and where do you feel the chances are going to come from?
Transitions. And Bournemouth like to make the game a bit of chaos. They like to make the game transitional. That's where they basically make the game transitional, and they rely on their midfielders to win that midfield battle, win it and make the game open, and then hit the attackers directly. So if we could win that midfield battle, go very direct to our forward players like Kudus and Richarlison and Brennan especially, get him in on goal, then I think you potentially won't need too much creativity in the sense that against a low block, you know, against two banks of four against a team who's going to restrict your space. That's not quite how Bournemouth play. They can get into an organised mode, but how they like the game state to be is chaos, transitions, and going direct to their attackers. So there is a way of, if we can win that midfield battle, we get the transitions on them and we go direct to our attackers. That is where I see the space being. Just it being quite an open game and Tottenham winning that transitional battle. That's where I see it. It won't necessarily have to be a low block in this one.
I'm looking at this stat here from last season saying throw-ins in the own third leading to shot. Bournemouth are actually the highest on that. They conceded 16 shots from throw-ins last season. And,
wow.
And with Spurs' kind of newfound attacking threat from set pieces, long throw-ins, maybe that can be an avenue of where we can hit them.
Well, you know Frank, he tries every single kind of trick in the book to try and get a marginal gain. And I'm sure he'll know that stat. And I'm sure he'll know that they concede goals from throw-ins. And I bet you we're going to be launching it tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll be launching it.
I think Frank's definitely looked at that and seeing as a way to gain an advantage against this Bournemouth side. It is kind of going back to what you were saying before against these kind of teams where Spurs need to like prove their worth a little bit. And I felt like it was against these kind of teams a lot of the times where Ange Postecoglou came undone, particularly last season, you know, the likes of the Fulhams and the Bournemouths and these kind of teams where we just couldn't get consistent results. I mean, we could get the odd result here and there, you know, against Aston Villa we would win or then lose, or Fulham, we always found it difficult. Like we said before, Bournemouth, you know, we didn't beat them last season at all. So we really need to kind of gain our consistency against these kind of teams. And obviously, I think back to the Pochettino days when we were at full pomp, these were the kind of games where I think we would make it our bread and butter to go and get consistent results against like the middle of the range teams.
Yeah, and these are the games that it's so hard to drop points, so easy to drop points in, because your favourites, obviously, were at home, were expected to win, yet you are playing a very good team and a very smart team.
And one little drop off and you know that they can spring on you, they can hurt you.
Yeah, and it's not like, you know, Burnley, where you can have a first half like we did against Burnley, but can't kind of get away with it. If you play like that against this team, they'll punish you. And they've got their own good players. They've got Semenyo, who could easily play for a top six team. They've got Evan Nilsson, who, you know, had a very good first season in the Premier League. They've got good quality. Like Burnley and teams at the bottom, they don't have the same quality that a team like Bournemouth does, but they have quality and they will punish you if you're off your game. And it's so easy to be off your game when you're at home and you're expected to roll them over. You're expected to get 3 points here. So these are the games that you show you're a serious team, that you're a team with consistency, that you're a team that are going to play with a certain level each game. That's obviously why Frank's been brought in, to get that consistency in the team, you know, over multiple competitions over a whole season. So tomorrow is going to be a way of proving it.
Yeah.
Not to say if we drop points, that means, you know, we're not a consistent team. You know, depending on how the game goes. It's just, if we win tomorrow and we win with a good performance, that goes to tell you that will go to show you potentially what kind of team we're going to be this year. That'll help you give that image of the team, I think.
Yeah, and it'll be brilliant to just go into that international break, 3 wins out of 3. Just like, you know, a certain manager did in his first time he came. It wasn't 3 wins out of 3, but undefeated, 2 wins and 1 draw Ange started with. But I think I thought it felt different then, and the first 10 games we were brilliant. But it feels different this time in the case of we've just got a much bigger, better structure around the team, in my opinion, albeit when we started the first 10 games under Ange, we didn't concede too many goals either. But the way I see this game kind of going, obviously Bournemouth are going to press us high up the pitch. They're going to try and unsettle us. And instead of us trying to play out the back, I see us going a bit more direct in this game, trying to feed Sarr, trying to feed Richarlison, going a bit longer, trying to get them to make it stick and bringing the other players into play. And on the other side, I'm looking at Bournemouth, who are going to like to play the ball out the back and bring it out to the midfield through the defenders. We're going to have to press like we did against Man City, you know. I wouldn't even go against Frank going man for man again and just to really press them really hard at the pitch with Mohamed Kudus, with Richarlison, with Pape Matar and try and force those errors from the back.
Yeah, I think the fact that we went direct against City a lot of the time and PSG, and we were getting a lot of joy with Kudus, with Richarlison, with Sarr, because of their physical ability to combat with the defenders they're facing. And knowing that one of Bournemouth's biggest threats is their pressing, I think you just bypass it completely. And all of a sudden, if you can win some duels, with the long passes, you could get a lot of joy there. And I think Frank will definitely be looking at that. Definitely be looking, especially Kudus, go direct to Kudus, get him to make it stick, and all of a sudden get the space to open up. So yeah, I think he's going to know that for sure. We're going to have to make sure we're limiting Bournemouth's ability to press us. But then again, when you've got people like Romero, like Porro, it's important to try it a few times just to keep them guessing. You can't go long every time. But absolutely. I think that will be the general thing. Make sure that you're not giving them the opportunity to press. I think that'll be important. Yeah, and I agree. I think with the play, if we go with that midfield three, that workhorse three, and if we can go man-to-man against City and come out on top, that will give them confidence and that real, which you need in these kind of games, just that confidence to dominate them, that we can go man-to-man in this game and go, look, if I can track Haaland all the way to his penalty box like Romero did and come out on top, I can do that against anyone. So I think we're going to do that again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at another stat in terms of set pieces. Bournemouth were 5th in terms of percentage conceded from set pieces last season. 26.8% of their goals they conceded last season all came from set pieces, which is a fairly high number when you think about it. The top were actually Arsenal, 38.7%, but that's because not many people can score against them through open play because of how solid they are defensively. But with 26.8%, I mean, Frank as well has got to be drilling that. I mean, our set pieces have looked dangerous so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get another goal from set pieces tomorrow.
Yeah, and we've looked creative. We've tried different things. We've pumped the ball into box when the ball's gone to the halfway line. Especially against PSG, we did that. I don't think that the focus will be on set pieces as much as it was in that PSG game, but definitely, especially when you got a player like Kudus who gets fouled a lot, you got to take advantage of those situations, and I'm sure we will. We will, and especially when we add Simons to the squad, who gets fouled a lot as well. But obviously, he's not going to be available for this game. But I think Frank, you can see the way he speaks. He always thinks about all these things, about who the opposition are, what they're going to give, what principles that we need to make sure we stick to our principles. But there will be little tweaks, given what Bournemouth give, and also he's already shown with Brentford last year. The tweaks that he made for that game, they worked a treat and he won the game. He beat them twice. And that was with players of lesser quality. So I'm sure he's going to know how to combat this game.
Yeah, I want to see Kudus become a bit more of a goal threat. I mean, we saw the 2 brilliant assists that he did in the first game, but we haven't seen him take too many shots or getting in too many goal-scoring opportunities yet in the opening 2 games. And I feel this game, potentially with a bit of space that Bournemouth will leave him behind, Kudus can gobble that up and really become a bit of a goal threat in this game. And I'm backing him to score his first goal in Spurs colours tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow you're feeling it. You're feeling it tomorrow, Mohamed Kudus. Yeah. Look, for me, I would love that, but we all know he plays such an unbelievable role for the team. Even when he's not scoring, he makes such an impact, doesn't he? So, yeah. Look, I would love his first goal. I'm not going to be like he needs to score tomorrow, but yeah, I'd love that as well.
I'm not saying he needs to score tomorrow, but I'd like to see it, and I think he will. I think he's going to get on the score sheet tomorrow.
I hope so. I feel like Brennan's going to score again.
Johnson again.
I think 3 and 3. I think this is a perfect game for him.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. But it's a big game. It's going to be a top atmosphere tomorrow with the announcement or with the welcome for Xavi Simons. And obviously, Spurs are 100% here in the Premier League. Only 2 other clubs are 100%, which are Liverpool and Arsenal. And Spurs are looking very good at this moment in time. Frank said in the press conference that they're still working on other players. He said Spurs... He pretty much said that there's going to be some sort of an announcement later today without saying it. And he also said Spurs are working on other players, plural players. Although he did say that in the last press conference, he says, yeah, I'm sure Spurs will bring in another player. And I told you that's not what he meant. I told you that's not what he meant. You're getting all worried about it. But look, Simons looks like it's wrapped up. And hopefully we can get another couple before the end of the window. Be quite some ends of the window.
It would be, considering how much pain we've been through this window, to end it in this way would be incredible. And it would be a real statement of intent, and it would show the fans that we mean what we say when when it comes to a lot of the rumours about changes this summer and spending more money, investment, all these kind of things. If we have a big end to the window, give Frank the tools, it could be a great season for us.
Well, you not believing, we both weren't believing that we were going to bring in Xavi Simons, and we were saying, yeah, all this media talk, it's all rubbish. I'm not believing it until we see a player signed, sealed and delivered. How many players do you think we're going to bring in from now to the end of the window? I
still don't think it'll be maximum 1. I don't think it'll be 2. But you never know.
Well, that's still 1 more than what you thought last week.
Yeah, true. I did say I think we'll get 1. Yeah. I think we'll get that 10.
That's what I'm saying.
I said I'm very certain we're going to get the 10.
That's what I'm saying, but now you're saying 1 on top of that as well.
No, I'm saying maximum. I'm not even sure we'll definitely get that 1, because I'm not certain we're going to go all out for a winger, to be honest. I wouldn't mind Lookman, but I think there's a reason why they're talking about a loan now, not a permanent. Because I think they want to. I don't think they're certain about getting him in permanently.
Well, in my opinion, with Lookman, I think it's very smart to try a loan with him, and I think it's something Atalanta might actually do. If there's no suitors for him and he's desperate to leave and they're not going to reintegrate him with the squad and everything like that, and he doesn't want to play for them, then a loan move could suit all parties, because I believe that Spurs are probably looking at a higher calibre
to
someone like Ademola Lookman, and I agree. And I think that if we can't get that calibre in now, I think it would be very smart to loan him.
Which I don't think we can, to be honest. You know, because we're talking about Savinho, and I think Savinho, his ceiling's much higher than Lookman. So I think it would be a smart bit of business, but I'm not certain that's going to happen, is my point. So it might happen.
I think he's got to go somewhere. I do think he's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, he might do, and it might be Tottenham. But I'm just saying I'm not convinced that that's definitely going to happen. When it comes to a defender, yeah, I mean, I'm actually starting to be a bit more hopeful now. There's more links to Akanji and Ake and maybe we have a few others lined up. So maybe that will happen, but maybe we'll get 2. I mean, I'll be delighted if we get 2. I'll be delighted, but I've got a feeling 1 more. Yeah. That's it.
I think if it is a Lookman on loan and a signing of Akanji for 15 million, I think we're really ready for the season then, in my opinion. You've got a winger there on loan that has got bundles of goals in the last couple of seasons, big game player as well, hat-trick in the Europa League final. And you've got Akanji, who's been there, done it, won leagues, that can fill in at right back, centre back, and all of a sudden you're looking at, we've got options at fullback, both fullbacks. We've got options in defence with Radu Dragusin about to come back as well. So I think the squad is looking very, very healthy if we can do that kind of business. And I think we can, I really think we can. This Xavi Simons signing has made me a lot more hopeful that Spurs can do more business.
We can. There's no reason why we can't do it. It's just whether we'll do it and whether we'll get it all over the line with a few days to go. Look, we've got Xavi Simons in very quickly, so we're clearly making moves, and that's really great to see. But deadline's on Monday, so time is running out.
Yeah, so I mean, all things are looking positive at this moment in time. We've got that 10 in, which we were desperate for, and a high-quality one at that as well. Someone that I never thought at the beginning of the window that we had any chance of getting over the line. We got a right winger in who at the beginning of the window I probably thought no chance of getting him over the line just because he was at West Ham. We've got a top number 6 in João Palhinha, and he's shown that in the Premier League before for Fulham. We've got a kind Champions League draw as well, which is very much of the excitement to everyone. We're 2 wins from 2. Let's hope we can finish the transfer window off with a flurry, get free from free, and then by the end of this, or by the early next week, I think Spurs fans are going to be even more excited than we are right now.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant 24 hours, and you put that Champions League draw in as well. It's been great. It's been exciting. We had a 3 a.m. bomber yesterday. Let's hope we carries on.
Yeah, absolutely. Score prediction?
2-1 Spurs. I'm going to go for the win. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Bournemouth are going to probably give us the hardest game we've had so far this season, but I reckon we concede our first goal, but we still come out with the win.
Scorers?
Brennan
again.
Brennan, and I'm going to go Brennan and Richarlison.
I'm going to go 3-1 to Spurs. I suspect Spurs can definitely catch out Bournemouth in this game. I'm confident that we can go in. I think there's going to be a buzz around the place. In terms of my goal scorers, I'm going for Mohamed Kudus to get one. I'll go for Brennan to get one. And I'm going to go for an outside of the box Cuti Romero from a set piece. So those are my three. I'm going 3-1. I want to know your score predictions in the comments section below. Wax lyrical in the comments as well as how excited it is to be a Spurs fan at this moment in time. And I know it seems like we're just bipolar on this channel. It's just like up and down and up and down.
That's Tottenham for you.
Yeah, this is the life of a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It's time to be happy. It's time to get excited, people. And yeah, the Javi Simons announcement set to be imminent, as Matt Law says. And also the watch long, you'll be able to catch Sim and Josh King on the watch long. I'll be at the game grabbing all the content for you guys there as well. So tune in for the watch long. Pump up show as always. Post-match fan show. It's your chance to have your say straight after the game. But that is your match preview. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.